Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and people, today I'm going to show you how to make an image gallery using jQuery and jQuery UI. Now what is jQuery UI? jQuery UI is a curated set of user interface interactions, effects, widgets and themes built on top of the jQuery JavaScript library. So it's just like it's the extra flavor, the extra flavoring that you can sprinkle upon jQuery, which itself is a JavaScript library. Anyways, before I take you deeper, let me straight away show you a published preview or a browser preview. Okay, just opening it up in Chrome. Alright people, so here you see the first picture. I've used 4 pictures in my example. All of them are PNG pictures. This is the first of the 4 pictures. And to advance to the next picture, just like as you have in Facebook, you just need to click on the picture. Okay, notice what happens. The moment I click, I see the picture change, that's 1. I see the fade in effects, that's 2. And I see something happening all over the picture. That's the highlight effect, that's 3. Okay, notice the bounce and the changeover of the pictures and the highlight effect. In fact, all this is coming from the main JS file, right? Which is this file. So we are using the fade in effect, which is out here. We're using the bounce effect, which is out here, and we're using the highlight effect, which is out here. Okay, so a little bit of code that I've written is responsible for the different effects that you see. Okay, but people, before I take you through the JS file, I talk you through the JS file, I would first like to discuss the HTML CSS file, which I was tempted to recreate, but it's so really so simple that I really don't need to. In fact, just a little bit of chit-chatting with you should suffice. Right. Also, let me tell you that if you wished, if you really didn't want anything dramatic, you didn't want the bounce effect, I can just like this take off the bounce effect and just like this take away the highlight effect. That was the reason why I actually segregated or separated the 3 effects in 3 different lines, 10, 11 and 12. Alright, now since I've disabled 9, 11 and 12, the only effect that I'm left with right now is the fade in effect, and let me show you the browser preview once again. Maybe that's all that you actually want. Okay, so let's refresh the page and go on clicking. So very simply put, it's just the Facebook effect. Just go on clicking on the pictures and the picture advances to the next picture, cycles through back to the very first picture. Okay, and what if you just wanted the let's say only the bounce effect, right? So I can just drop it out here, disable line 10, enable line 11. Okay, still having the highlight effect hidden. Let me just save it up, bring up the browser, let me refresh and click. So just the bounce effect is actually left now, just a subtle bounce. Now people, notice out here that I've used the distance argument or the parameter, which I've set to 10 pixels, and the bounce effect, which I can change to shake as well, right? There's so many effects in jQuery UI. Alright, I can change this to, let's say, 100 and see now what happens. I'm not saying that it actually is best suited for this gallery, but then you can use this effect later on anywhere you would want. Okay, let's refresh, let's click away and see the a radical change in the position when I click. Alright, so no fade in this time. Alright, so people, I'm going to talk you through the jQuery code, but as I said before that, we'll discuss the HTML CSS, basically the source code, image gallery.html file. For simplicity's sake, since the doc type is very simple to read and keeps things sparse and clean, I've used HTML5, but feel free to use XHTML 4.1 transitional. Right. So this is the head of the document, meta with char set attribute. Title goes out here. Now we have the opening script tag here, which closes out here, the opening out here, which closes out here. Now what exactly are these two lines of script tag, opening and closing, doing out here? Very simple. Let me bring up my local site folder in front of you. This is my local site folder, people, and this is the images folder, which is housing all the 4 pictures that you saw moments ago. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cool. All of these have the same size, 128 each, width and height that is, and all of them are PNG images. I've named them image 1, image 2, image 3, and image 4. This is the HTML document, which I've named image gallery .html. Of course, you could have chosen your own name too. This is the image gallery.js file that we were having a look at moments ago, with all these several effects that I was enabling and disabling from time to time. And this is the main jQuery file that you need before any other file. You need to grab this latest version at the time of making this tutorial, jQuery 1.9.1 minified, from jquery.com. Right. Now, through the script tags, I'm linking this HTML document to the externally kept image gallery.js and jQuery 1.9.1 minified. And how do I do that? Let me show that to you again. So you have the opening script tag with the type attribute set to text JavaScript. The source is pointing to that externally kept file. Make sure that jQuery 1.9.1 minified is written before image gallery.js. Now this is important. Don't change the order, please. Okay, so we close the script tag out here. So basically, in a nutshell, the externally kept JavaScript files are being linked up out here through the script tags and the source attribute, making sure that the type attribute is actually set to text JavaScript. Cool. Now, I've used some CDN out here, Content Delivery Network. What is CDN? Basically, I'm fetching this file, which is code jquery.com UI 1.10.3 jQuery Ui.js, and I'm fetching this file. It's actually a CSS file, which are actually kept on an external server or external source. So basically, it's not there on the local hard disk. It's kept externally. It's fetching it from a URL. Now that what is CDN, Content Delivery Network. These important files which are needed by this project have been offloaded to an external source and are pulled up like this. Again, we've used the script tag to pull up the JS file, and I've used the link tag with the relationship attribute set to style sheet. And through the href attribute, I'm pointing to this URL. So both these files are being pulled in through CDNs. Right. By the way, people, let me inform you that all the files, the HTML file, the JS files, including the images files, will be zipped up all together and put up on my website, from where you can actually download it free of cost. And the link will be there in the description, but verbatim, let me tell you, it's http://qualitylessons.net/downloads1. Right. We have the opening style tag out here with the type attribute set to text/CSS. As I said, I was tempted to create the whole thing again, but it's hard. There's hardly anything, which I need to do. So I can just talk you through this. The body tag has a background color set to $33333, which is this color, people. The margin left and the margin top have been set to 20 pixels each. So that is the reason why you see this displacement here in the corner from the top and from the left. Okay, and then I have rules set for pound sign or hash sign envelope with the height and with properties set to 128 each. Now where have I used envelope? In the body of the document. I've used an opening div tag out here with the ID set to envelope. So basically what I've done is the width and the height have been set to 128 each, in which I'm pushing in through the image tag a picture which has the source set to images1.png. Now the images folder is housing 4 images that we just saw: image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4.png. I've given it an ID of picture, which I'm gonna refer to through the Jquery file, and that's all that is there to this HTML document. There's nothing else. So very simple HTML document. All right. So you see the body tag close out here and the HTML tag close out here. So hardly anything that is inside the HTML document. The hard work mainly is inside the image gallery.js file, which, as I said, is connected to the source code or the HTML file. Okay. In line number 2, I'm declaring that when the document is actually ready, when the DOM is has initialized and is ready to be manipulated, when the elements can actually be manipulated. So I would want all this to happen after the document is actually ready. This function, this anonymous function, to work or execute. Now I've declared a mega variable or an array. What's an array? An array is a collection of different values, many values, multiple values. I've given it a name of image name, and I've made it equal to image 4, which I would want to replace to be image 1 to be replaced by image 4, image 3, image 2, and image 1, which are actually kept in the images folder. So this is the path: images/images4.png, images/image3.png, etc., etc. So all the 4 images that are lying in my local site folder, in the images folder, are actually the path of all the images, and the names have been given out here. So this array is actually a reference to the externally kept 4 pictures. Okay, I've declared another variable. I've called it total images. Obviously you could have given a different name too, as long as it complies with the way you can actually name variables. And I made it equal to image name dot length. Now through the length property, I'm fetching how many images are there inside this array. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this bit is going to be the number 4, and -1 should give you the number 3. So actually variable total images equals number 3. I'm declaring yet another counter, yet another variable, called it counter, and I made it equal to 0. That's in line number 7. Okay, what was the need to create this variable total images and this variable counter will become very clear very soon. Right now, I'm saying in line number 8 that when somebody clicks on hash sign picture, so this is actually a selector. What does that actually refer to? It refers to this image, the only image which is inside the images folder, and I've called it image1.png. It has an ID of picture, right? That is what it actually refers to through the ID. So when somebody clicks on the picture, run this function, which doesn't have a name, an anonymous function. What does the function do? It first executes line number 9. I would want the attribute source to be changed to image name counter. What is image name counter? Image name counter. Now counter is 0. Image name is this. So image name 0 basically refers to the first value of the array. Image name 1 refers to this, image name 2 refers to this, and image name 3 refers to this. So basically the indexing in an array always starts from 0, right? So I'm saying change the attribute source, this attribute source, which is at the moment set to image1.png, please change it to the first image inside the array image name, which is this. So I would want image1 to be replaced by image4.png. Right, that's exactly what is happening out here. So basically swapping the images. So image swap happens out here. Right. What exactly is happening in line number 10? I'm first hiding the picture so I can actually fade it in. So fade in is happening out here. You cannot straight away fade in something unless and until it's actually not there. So once you make it disappear, you can bring it back. So you can't straight away use the fade in effect without using the hide effect. So the fade in routine is happening out here. And next, what is happening is I'm applying an effect. Now this is optional, people. Line number 11 is optional. Line number 12 is optional too. And maybe even hide and fade in is optional too. So if you just wanted the shake effect or the bounce effect, let me just replace this with bounce. We have many other effects, people. We have the drop effect. We have the blind effect. You can just Google up Jquery Ui and Jquery Ui and effects, and you'll see a lot of documentation. Okay, I'm setting it back to bounce, and I'm changing the distance back to, let's say, something more acceptable. Let's say 15 px. Just write it as 15. Okay, so you can either use the fade in or the bounce or just the highlight effect, but you cannot do away with line number 9. You have to change the attribute source to something else, which is any of these pictures. Definitely you need that, but these are all additional optional parameters. You can completely do away with all these 3 lines. Yes, you can do away with all these 3 lines completely. So just change the picture and do nothing else. Not fade in, not bounce, not show the highlight effect. Yes, that's possible. And next up, people, what I've done is I am making sure that when somebody clicks the picture, the envelope should undergo the highlight effect. Now what's the envelope? Is the div. Basically refers to the div since it has an ID of envelope. Right, so let's get back to image gallery.js. So I would want it to apply the highlight effect, so that little bit of color burst that you see momentarily, that's the highlight effect. And then I'm defining the color as £sign 777. You could have chosen a different color completely, people. Any other color is just fine. Okay, so for example, let me try some arbitrary color. Even I wouldn't know how it actually would show up. Let's show it to you, and let's take a preview once again. Right, some bluish shade, people. Right, you see the bounce effect as well as the fade in. Cool. And obviously you can change this distance too. Right, so now what happens out here is once somebody clicks on the picture, I'm actually incrementing the counter. So what was initially set up as 0 then becomes 1. Okay, and we have an if conditional out here in line number 14. It says if the counter equals total images, if you remember, people, was giving us a value of 3. If it actually equals that, please make the counter 0. It's this line is responsible for the cycling through between the 4 images. I'm actually able to go from the 4th image to the 1st image, to the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 4th, and back to the 1st image, and so on and so forth. That never-ending cycle is happening out here. Cycling through the images. Okay, so now since I clicked on the first image, the counter becomes 1 from 0. Okay, and then when somebody clicks again, this time it's not going to fetch this image is rather going to fetch this image, because this time the counter has become 1, and it's going to refer to image name, the array, and then 1, which is this image. Then counter becomes 2, which means this image, then it becomes 3, which means this image. And when it actually becomes 3, it's reset to 0, so we are back to this image. So this image, then this image, then this image, and then this image. So that is how the cycling actually happens. We increment the counter out here, people. When we write counter plus plus, it just simply means add 1 to the counter. That's another way of saying the same thing, add 1 to the counter. Okay, so let me show you a preview once again. And as I said, if you don't like the bounce effect, you can change it to the shake effect. If you don't like the bounce and the shake and even the highlight effect, you can completely do away with those effects, just keeping the fade in effect only. That's absolutely all right. People have spread this code over 3 lines. This code I can actually concatenate and join all 3 together. I can just take off the picture out here and out here, completely wipe it off, and just take everything out here and cut it from here and just paste it out here, and then cut everything from here and just paste it to the tail. So I can do that too. You can just put the full stop. This full stop will act like the plus sign or the concatenation. It's gonna join. You can just go on elongating the code this way instead of separating the way I've actually done. This is not a good practice, people, just to separate the code like this. You can just use the dot towards the end and write the rest of the code like this and like this. But the only reason why I separated the code is to make it easier for you to understand and to disable a specific effect just by adding 2 forward slashes like this, right? Which otherwise would not be so easy. You'll just need to cut out that code and throw it away. All right, people. So you see, this is jQuery, where I've used the hide effect and the fade in effect. And this is jQuery UI, where I've used the bounce effect, or I can use the shake effect or the highlight effect. All right. Basically, the extra flavoring to the jQuery comes from jQuery UI, which is again a curated set of user interface interactions, effects, widgets, and themes built on top of the jQuery JavaScript library. That's it. So people, let me inform you once again that this project is available as a free download from my website, http://qualitylessons.net/downloads1, that is .html. And before I terminate the tutorial, I would like to show you a preview once again, a browser preview. Here goes all the effects all together for you. All right, so people, I hope you like this tutorial, and I also hope to see you soon again, and I also hope that you'll keep coming back for more. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.